Hey guys, it's me again, I41. I did yesterday already a video on the current event that is going on, especially the combat sites, and today I'm doing a bit of an update. This time we are checking out all 4 Marauders with a viable and cheap fitting to run the event site with them. I tried it before already using a Kronos and made a total of 600 million over the course of a single hour in nullsec. But it is not challenging at all to make that much on a Marauder, and in lowsec you potentially can make even more. Once again, you can find all the fittings that will be listed here in the video description. So let's get right into it. But playing alone in EVE is boring. So if you want to explore nullsec, take part in PvP and just be part of a great community. Come and join our Discord and fight under the banner of our supreme leader, me. So come and join Suspect today, link is in the description. Anyway, on with the video. First off, let's answer the question that might be nagging you. Why Marauders? Marauders in the current state of the game are absolutely broken. You get similar DPS to a Horde Dreadnought, an extremely good tank, while your entire ship costs less than a properly fit Rattlesnake, but does a lot more damage, tanks more, and is all around a better ship. With the why out of the way, let's talk about how you run these sites using Marauders. It isn't massively different from how you run them in a Praxis, but you have to accept that when you siege, you will be immobile for 30 seconds and afterwards receive a weapon timer, which prevents you from tethering or docking. This is very important. If you do have to warp out because hostiles try to murder you, warp to a faraway Celestial at 70 km first. This will allow you to have your weapon timer run out while you're warping about, otherwise you will have a very awkward time when you're sitting next to the structure you're trying to dock to, and the game tells you that you can't, with 3 sabers giving you a lot of love around you right now. Another good way to actually circumvent the weapon timer is by simply making yourself bookmarks in space, which you warp to before you actually warp to a structure. Another good way to keep yourself safe is to MJD once you enter the site, just to be away from the warp and beacon where any other players will land. The NPCs will rewarp anyway to you, so even range is not really an issue. But this is the central point of this whole video. The sites themselves are not a challenge at all. The real challenge are any players that are trying to kill you. So please, just remember, have enough ammo, carry cap boosters, bring drugs, and always be PvP fit. Even a cheap Marauder is insanely strong, so all you have to do is use it. Maybe you get a fun fight out of it as well. Just always remember, 3 4x's are fightable, 20 4x's and 2 Blackbirds is called an insurance money generator, and that insurance money is going into your pocket. But if you do manage to follow all those tips and not die, you will be making insane amounts of ISK in a very short time span, and Marauders, quite frankly, don't actually die that often. Just make sure that you use them, if possible, close to space that is owned by people who are friendly with you, or in your own space. Especially if you're in a nullsec coalition, that one will be extremely easy. Just remember to use voice chat and talk to people. But as I already stated before, the actual combat site is incredibly easy. Just remember to use the Grappler and Webifier the fittings I posted. They are there for a reason. Drones are actually not really important at all, considering that basically all your damage is coming from your weapons, and basically none is coming from your drones. Okay, phew. We now have done away with how you use your ship. Now, we come to the fittings. First of all Marauders are viable. Just because I prefer one, doesn't mean you can't use the one you want to use. Second of all of these Marauders are PvP fit. Cheap, but PvP fit. That is very important, because players will be your biggest threat, not the NPCs in the site. All of them come with heavy energy neutralizer allowing you to nuke out frigates instantly, and a smart bomb to kill off drones, as well as drugs that give you more repair rate. I also threw in a very cheap implant set that gives you just some easy extra stats for less than 100 million ISK in total. So let's go ahead and take a general look at all 4 of the Marauders before we go into actually ranking them and how good they are in my opinion. The Marauder we're going to start off with is the Kronos. The Kronos has very high DPS, very high tracking, and a really good tank. Just remember, your range is close to 0 and your damage drop-off will be huge once you go further away than 15 kilometers using Void. But the Kronos is cheap and does the highest DPS out of all the 4 ships listed here, so you can't really go wrong with it. And all of the NPCs go close to you anyway, so it's fine. The second Marauder on this list is the Paladin. The Paladin has the lowest DPS out of all the Marauders in question, but not by far, and it actually does the best damage type for this event. Being an armor Marauder also allows it to fit a Webifier and a Grappler for near perfect application. It is the one I personally use, as it has amazing tank and an amazing spectrum of use outside of the event too, especially in PvP, and I have a lot of fond memories, especially considering I got some 53 kill marks on the last one I had. Number 3 is the Vargur. The Vargur is often regarded as the best Marauder. Is it though? I don't know, you tell me. The only thing that is certain is that it shares the number 2 spot in DPS of the Golem, and has for a low cost a rather very high tank. Only issues, your low buffer and your high reliance on cap boosters if you do get tackled. And your buffer can be really deadly, especially if you get attacked by bombers or any ships that do a high alpha damage. And number 4 is the Golem. The Golem is hands down the most popular ratting Marauder. Thanks to the ability to just freely switch your damage type and the fact that it always hits, it is very popular. But do not be mistaken. Its application is not always good, and it will suffer from ships with tiny signature radius, but for that you do, at least in theory, have the target painter. So let's get to the part where someone at some point will throw a banana at my face. My personal ranking of the Marauders is the following. I'm putting the Kronos to spot number 1. The Kronos has the highest utility with 2 webs, but also the highest DPS and a decent tracking. It is very little cap reliant and can tank decently even when tackled. On top of that, it tends to be the cheapest Marauder you can get. And I will put the Vargur to spot number 2, because the same that goes for the Kronos goes for the Vargur, but with less buffer. Even better tracking and more active tank. Thanks to that, it can actually hold itself even in a proper PvP fight. But its lack of buff kinda puts it into danger when it comes to getting attacked by ships with high alpha. And I will put the Paladin third, because the fact that it does exactly the right damage type for the event fixes its rather low DPS. And thanks to the dual web, it will also apply really well. And now we come to the point where a lot of people will disagree with me. But maybe I have a personal dislike, but I don't like the Golem. Yes, it does have good tank. Yes, it has good DPS. But if you get tackled, you will almost certainly not apply to an interceptor. I don't like the Golem for this simple reason. Its missiles always hit, but the application does not have to be good. And quite often it is very awful. Is it a bad ship because of that? Not really. You can circumvent this somewhat with drugs and implants, but even then, other Marauders are better for PvP. But with the ranking concluded, this also concludes the video. And on a final note, none of the Marauders are actually bad. Use the one you like. Running this event in a Marauder is amazing. Will they die? Perhaps. But with some precautions, you will do just fine and make some truly amazing ISK. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you around. See you!